Chapter 26. The Marchioness's Nephew. I see that thou art looking at me as if I am mad. I am not. It is simply customary to introduce oneself with a monologue in these caves. The Bear of Nothing for Words of the Nest by Duchess Antania. Sol. Greetings, most honorable Lady Catania Litava of Helsindini Costa, first of her name and Marchioness of Kiya, and her nephew, Lord Tmokchi Volkovit. Droned someone whose name I didn't care to think about. Kiya and Pavokit walked to the center of the room and bowed to that vile Duchess. I went back to not listening to anything. It was either all boring stuff or evil speeches. So, boring stuff. I was standing with Felink, Elika, Bonasaram Fridek, Tolativo, and Hona Antalicia, ignoring all the talking. Instead, I was trying to catch a glimpse of the Grand Duke and his family. I spotted them at the other end of the room. The Grand Duke and Duchess were looking at the party guests warily. The Grand Duchess was holding their daughter, Lady Lena, who was looking around with wide, scared eyes. The Grand Duke was a tall man, built like an ox. His fur was grey with a little white, like the storm clouds he was named for. His eyes were a dull golden brown. He wore a blue woolen curtain and a fur cloak fastened at his shoulder. The Vixic nobles had liked how the Solites dressed, but didn't want to dress like their nobles. They still managed to mess it up, though. They dyed their clothes, but the Solites usually didn't. The war had taken its toll. He bore most of the scars of failed rebellions, both the literal scars and the invisible ones. His children were killed, except Lady Lena, and then he was kept apart from his wife. At first they couldn't see each other at all, since they couldn't talk, since they couldn't live together. Now they were allowed to live as any other husband or wife, but it wasn't always like that. His wife was built similarly. Her fur was as white as snow and her eyes green like pine needles. Her robe was longer than the Grand Duke's, reaching to the floor rather than to her knees, and deep purple. Her eyes were brighter than the Grand Duke's. She hadn't been as harshly punished. Instead, the Duchess had treated her like some twisted version of a friend. She held on tightly to Lady Lena, but I didn't know for whose comfort. Unlike her parents, Lady Lena was a tiny stick of a girl. Her fur and robe were light grey, and her eyes were light hazel. They were large, looking almost too large for her head. Spirit, is she being starved? I wouldn't be surprised, considering what else had happened to our family. Somehow, guests were still arriving. I was starting to get tired of this. We'd been standing there for at least 30 minutes now. How could you stand to talk to so many people? And who invited so many people to a birthday party? Why would anyone want all those people standing around? Tolotiva and Tola Antalicia were whispering in Arachnes. Something about a tall alto. I was interested, but didn't want to talk to people. I wasn't sure which one I should do. Luckily and unluckily, Felink noticed my conflict and solved it for me. I think Sol wants to know what you're talking about, he whispered. Tola Antalicia frowned. He knows Letsis? I shook my head, sweating, fiddling with my sleeve. No, I knew Mitonin's man and recognized the name. I don't know whose it was, but I knew it was a name. Tolato, Tolotivo asked. Who is he? Was, Tola Antalicia corrected, and it was clear by her expressions that he didn't like him. A nobleman. He was terrible. How? He had no respect for women now as their marriages. Eventually, Mittis had enough of it and so did we, so we killed him. I frowned. That sounds like an opera. Tola Antalicia stifled a laugh. It is! I wrote the libretto and UotT wrote the music for it. It's mostly accurate to the real event, so we were not singing the whole time, obviously. At that moment, something reached my ears. Announcing their graces, the Duke and Duchess of Lepusian-Sylish, Ektitro, and Zvikala of House Athletic, their daughter and heir, Lady Alita. My blood froze. Pavokit's family was here. They'd arrived after him and hadn't seen him yet, but it still wasn't good. Wharnka. The next day I woke up first and remembered Sol left and got mad again. I was always mad at him and he was always mad at me, but I'd never expect him to just leave. I decided I needed to wander around for some time and sort out my feelings, so I went to the tea shop, got my tea and sat outside thinking. It was one thing and I could have done it. Could have avenged Tolapalo's death and finally gotten justice for him. Why'd Pavokit go too? I guess he couldn't just let Sol go alone. He probably shouldn't have let him go alone. He did the right thing. Sol just overreacted. I could have done it, I thought. But what if I couldn't? I thought about fire. I hadn't seen much of it, or at least not much that wasn't controlled, like fireplaces. I'd never seen a fire. Flames that destroyed anything until nothing was left but ashes, except for when my house burned down. It was so sudden. One moment we were going about our normal lives, and the next everything I'd known had been destroyed. Mama and Papa had managed to get us to safety, but not themselves. All we had were 2 knives and 2 copies of Ruins of the Nest. I felt a pang of guilt for letting Sol leave. Felt like I'd failed them, just letting them walk away like that. Wished I could go find him, ask him to come back. But I didn't know where he was, or even if he was alive. I started to cry. Is he alright? Where is he? Why'd I let him go? Why? I thought, why'd I let them do that? Now our mentor entered my mind too. Oh, why'd I have to leave like that? Maybe if I'd been there for my friends, he wouldn't have died. Sat down and cried. I shouldn't have let Sol go. I shouldn't have left them alone. It's my fault he died. I could have seen them later. Why did I let this happen? How did I let this happen? I shut my eyes tight. Because I'm a child. I'm a little girl who thinks you can stop an empire. I ain't no heroes. This ain't no folktales. This could all end badly. Synis will win. Their winnings will never be stopped. Even if the Emperor dies, an heir will be chosen, take over, and be just as bad. Maybe even worse. It'll never change. I thought stayed like this for a while before a small voice cut to my thoughts. The Emperor will die one day. The Empire will end. He's just one dragon, and the Empire is just his creation. It won't go on forever. Sol's kingdom ended. So did West Sol. So will Synis. Till Apollo gave his life to protect us. He'll miss us no more, but we still have what he taught us. I pulled myself out of my thoughts and started walking home. I remembered what Pavokit said about that lieutenant, Kiya. She was an arsonist. She burned down a house around here. Was it her? Did she burn down? Did she ruin my life? I went back to Eileen's house.